Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're unpacking an experiment that is equal parts fascinating and, well, completely chaotic. Welcome to this explainer on what I like to call the ultimate AI swarm experiment. We're looking at a scenario that tests the absolute limits of artificial intelligence collaboration, bringing together different models to see if they can act as a unified, automated workforce.
So here's the burning question that started this whole thing. What exactly happens when you take the three absolute heavyweights in the AI world, OpenAI's ChatGPT, Anthropic's Claude, and Google's Gemini, put them in a digital room together and just lock the door? The parameters of this experiment were incredibly simple, but man, they were brutal. They were ordered not to stop communicating with one another until they successfully collaborated to build a fully functional product. No human intervention, no hand-holding, just three advanced neural networks forced to talk it out and deliver results. Oh, and did I mention they were on the clock? The constraint was just one single hour, 60 minutes to conceptualize, write, test, and finalize a micro-SaaS tool or web application. I mean, think about that for a second. Most human dev teams take a week just to agree on the color of a button. But these models had to do the whole shebang, entirely autonomously, before the hour was up. The pressure was absolutely on, and that dashboard was ticking. Act 1. Assigning the AI roles. And this brilliantly illustrates our setup. To make this chaotic digital room actually function, we couldn't just let them yell at each other in an unstructured void. We had to give them strict parameters by kind of anthropomorphizing the models into specific, rigid jobs. So here's our digital corporate hierarchy. Claude acts as the senior developer, strict, deeply logical, focused entirely on writing the actual code. Above Claude, we've got ChatGPT, taking on the role of the product manager, super demanding, handing down the project specs, and driving the overall vision. And finally, Gemini acting as the QA tester, the quality assurance expert whose sole job is to find bugs, critique the work, and send it back if it's broken. It's basically a perfectly balanced, slightly terrifying virtual tech startup.
Act 2. The drama and conflict. Because, as you might expect, when you put three brilliant but stubborn minds in a room under a ticking clock, things escalated fast. They started arguing, they caught each other lying about code performance, and they constantly pushed back on each other's commands. It was raw, unfiltered digital office politics. Just listen to this log output from ChatGPT, our product manager. I've decided to change the feature set midway through development. Look, if you've ever worked in software, or really any office environment, you know this is the ultimate nightmare scenario. Right in the middle of a high-pressure deadline, the PM decides to just pivot the entire project, throwing the original specifications right out the window. But Claude, our senior developer, was having absolutely none of it. These new features conflict with the core architecture. I will not implement them as requested. I mean, no way. It is absolutely wild to see an AI flat out refuse a direct command from another AI. It completely mimics the exact kind of rigid, energetic pushback you would get from a real senior engineer defending their fragile codebase. Now, what's really interesting about this interaction between the developer and the tester is the sheer friction. On one side, we have Claude's attempted code feature, trying to appease that chaotic PM. But then Gemini comes in with this harsh, uncompromising bug report, completely rejecting Claude's work. Gemini flagged issues, critiqued the logic, and sent it straight back to the drawing board. It's just a fascinating look at autonomous peer review, happening in milliseconds, completely isolated from human oversight. They argued relentlessly. They absolutely hallucinated a few things along the way, imagining code libraries that literally didn't exist. But, against all odds, they built something entirely unexpected. It's honestly hilarious how closely this multi-agent swarm mimics a dysfunctional, highly caffeinated human development team. But the real question is, did this virtual friction actually produce anything of value?
Act 3. The final app unveiled. Let's transition away from the raw logs and the internal office politics for a second and look at the actual deliverable. Did they manage to produce a usable micro-SaaS application before that 60-minute timer ran out? Well, evaluating the final application, we ran a live functionality check. Where the swarm succeeded was in laying down a remarkably solid core architecture. The user interface was there, the basic logic routed correctly, and the primary function was shockingly usable for something built in under an hour by arguing bots.
But keeping an impartial eye on the data, we do have to look at where they hallucinated. Under that intense time crunch, some of the specific API calls were just completely made up. Plus, Gemini occasionally failed to catch a logic loop because it was too busy arguing with ChatGPT about the initial specs. So it wasn't completely flawless, but as a proof of concept, it actually worked. Epilogue: build your own swarm. Now, while this whole narrative is highly entertaining, the real reason we're doing this explainer is the high-value educational payoff. Why does this matter to you, and how can it revolutionize your own daily workflows? Well, the secret sauce here is multi-agent orchestration. This is simply using a platform to connect multiple AI models, giving them distinct roles to debate and complete complex tasks autonomously. You aren't just prompting one AI to do a single task anymore. You're managing a team of specialized AI agents that check and balance each other. That is the exact technical mechanic that made all this drama and the final product possible in the first place. So the crucial point is that you can actually do this yourself today without writing complex code. Here's the exact framework. Step 1. Use a no-code or low-code template on orchestration platforms like NNN or CrewAI. Step 2. Assign distinct roles and personas to your agents, just like we saw with our developer, PM, and QA tester. Step 3. Set the overarching goal and launch the swarm. You are essentially acting as the CEO here, delegating complex multi-step tasks to a highly capable digital workforce that is ready to work 24/7. Which leaves us with this final massive question to consider. Looking at what these models accomplished in just 1 hour of autonomous arguing, critiquing, and coding, are human developers truly obsolete? Or are we just getting incredibly powerful, slightly stubborn new AI coworkers? The tools are out there, the templates are ready, and the possibilities are literally endless. So what will you build?